Howdy, and welcome to the dungeon. Dayman here. So, you want a prestige, or maybe you're trying to double prestige just like me. Now, I'm not the first one to double prestige, unfortunately. Maybe it's a good thing, because I have a little bit of a life outside of this game. But you've probably heard the term power leveling. What does power leveling mean? Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but it doesn't matter if you're launching a level 1 mission. Oh, Haunted Chambers, how we miss thee. It doesn't matter if you are launching a level 1 mission or a level 7 mission. What you're going to find is that the experience reward is going to be the same. But when you're power leveling, this is one of the things you're looking for. You're looking for a relatively easy 3-hazard dungeon. We don't want to have things where it's like no res or, it's not so bad if death is on your tail as long as everyone has the ability to craft invisibility. And if you've seen my free potions video, that shouldn't be a hard thing. But you want a 3 hazards. It's better to have a short dungeon, not with too many rooms. But I'm not going to launch this set. Even if I had a full party of prestige individuals, what we're going to do is launch at level 1. But I'm going to show you something here. We're going to launch at here. Look at your bonus. Of course, base EP is good, but look at what bonuses you get. 75% bonus EXP. That's what we're talking about. So let's abort that mission just right quick. Looking at it at level 1. Look at that. Same base EXP, same bonus EXP, and I'm going to be able to fly through this thing. I will be making an updated weapons video. Not only have I gotten better at this game and got a few tips and tricks from other experienced players, but I feel like with the mythical weapons and new perks, there's a lot more for us to discuss with our weapons, so look forward to that. Now, when you're power leveling, the number of spawns in a dungeon is going to be determined by the amount of people you bring into the dungeon with you. I do these recordings solo for now. I've been in communication with a few people who I want to be doing, actual dungeon raids with, kind of develop a community with the channel. So if you're interested, comment below, let me know with your username if you want to run some dungeons with me. Or if you have some good tips, I'd love to feature on the channel. It's not just my tips, I'm sharing things. In fact, that Potion Pong game I was playing was taught to me by a fellow player. It might even be fun to do a few, tweaky bug video things. So, I'm going to be running this solo. However, like I mentioned, in order to really get the experience yield, you are going to want to run this with a full team. 10 levels away! I cannot wait. And also look forward to the video of me double prestiging, because I will be posting that. And comment below what mythic weapon you think I should get. So, if you don't already know, I got to teach everyone this, because it's pertinent. If you hold a weapon and click down your thumbstick that is holding your weapon, it will reveal to you the amount of damage and its effects. Mind you, that the damage that you are dealing will be in relation to the level of dungeon that you are hitting. Whenever you're power leveling, collect everything, break everything. If you've seen my most important video, then you know this to be exceptionally good for gaining more levels. I never watch what I get, but I'll do it for you. Oh, baby. I love me a great sword. That's why I love this. Alrighty. And that's probably one of the first times you get to see me run a dungeon, so that's pretty cool. Let me know if you want to see me attempt a solo at a tier 7. I've been soloing tier 6s with this new update, so you get to watch me suffer if you wish. You hear that sound? That means it's a lock-in room. Announce that to your allies. No thrown weapons. Won't make mincemeat out of you. Critter damage it must be, huh? Whew boy. Head eye on my ticker. Let's go ahead and get that. Remember, half effective potions, so I'm not getting a full heal out of that. See, I'm using terrain, strafing. Get out of here. Area damage, nice. Always really good with these. Come around the corner, baby. Keep your distance with that throw. Yeah, that's right where I want you. Stay in here. It's me and you. It's me and you. All right. Kind of a fun thing about these random weapon dungeons is I literally only ever used a club when forced to, but frankly, it kind of feels cool. Just do a little bit of baseball, so it's not a two-handed, but makes you think about it. Which is also why I like the greatsword. Alrighty. If I wasn't mistaken, most of this dungeon is straight on, but you want to clear out every single room. Who you got? Who we got? Stay down. It could be kind of fun in a solo to kind of let hazards do the damage for you, but these fireball ones are less than consistent. See if we can get any damage on them. Slimy boy. See if we can get that headshot. Yes! See what I'm saying? It's pretty great. Another important reason to go through all the offshoots is those offshoots are where you're going to find the skeletal key. Whoa, look at all those. That was kind of fun. Gimme. Greedy man, greedy hands. Bada bing! Ow. Okay. Yeah. It's just straight on for the most part. Oh, that's cool. Oh, no, it's not connected. I've seen a few non-linear dungeons, and I like those. Where it's not just a straight on, but can be a bit labyrinthian. So, if you don't know, I don't really talk much about myself on this channel, but since we're kind of doing a run through, and it's not a, I feel like I was gonna say Zelda. That's funny. I feel like Link. Now, if you don't know anything about me, I mean, I can talk a little bit about myself. You know, I'm in my 30s. I'm a father, I'm a husband, you know. I won't be talking too much about my children, but I love them dearly. I'm raising both teenagers and toddlers, so that's a challenge. You know, this game is a great place to, you know, work things out. Just kidding. As far as what I do in my downtime, though, when I'm not running dungeons here, I'm running dungeons in here. I'm a dungeon master, and I get to also play Dungeons and Dragons with a nice group of friends. What's nice is I'm not a forever DM, actually. That's because I actually run for a group of dungeon masters. I know, lucky me, right? But, see if I can get that bomb builder proc. Nah, that would've been cool. One thing about these level 1 dungeons is they don't necessarily develop the best habits. I should be doing more strafing, should be trying to, avoid these shots. I keep trying to grab my shield. That Juggernaut perk got me spoiled. But yeah, I'm a dungeon master. I get to actually play the game I love. In fact, one of my player characters that I'm playing is, catch this, I'm a nerd by every variety, right? I am playing a Kingdom Hearts based class, right? So I'm playing a Keyblade wielder, which I know guys, I know. I'm crossing the streams. But, yeah, I thought that would be fun to kind of like blend two of my hobbies, or two of my favorite things together. Kingdom Hearts 2 is my favorite video game. If you know, you know. One of the things I love about the Kingdom Hearts game was it was one of the very first games that introduced aerial combat in a way that felt fluid and dynamic. I mean, flying around those maps, we kind of take advantage now what it feels like to have this really dynamic gameplay, but it was one of the first to really do it. And it had a very, very fun means of, stalking your character abilities and everything like that. You can, even though it's a hack and slash, kind of like this one, there is a nuance to how you'd play that game. In my current campaign that I'm running, we're actually in a seafaring campaign, and I think we're almost level 15 now. We've been playing for, how many years? I think 3 years now. Yeah, don't litter in real life. Alright, lock in room, got our skeletal key room. Alright, making quick work of it. And, I've always enjoyed the seafaring kind of pirate motif. Unfortunately, we're so high level now that their ship had to eventually become an airship. And it's been an interesting challenge creating, encounters for people who can literally sail over what you would assume all the content is. But it's a fun and interesting challenge. And forgive if these talking videos are maybe less interesting, because I'm not really talking too much about, our game of interest. I'm just kind of talking about me a bit. Growing up, I kind of mentioned I did a little bit of sports, but one of the things that kept me in that sort of athletic mode, that was funny. You see that? The Doomer hit his own ally. I like to somewhat clear out mobs before handling bosses, if possible. Especially when doing solo. 2 hands. Not using my other sword. I do try to keep my guard up when it comes to the archers, just because I want to get that chance of deflecting. It feels so cool when you do that. One of the potions I like to bring into these power leveling dungeons is a quad potion, because even though it's level 1, you can make really quick work of these boss battles, which we did see we'd be getting a few of. When it comes to the Doomer, yeah, always keep that distance. Really no reason to jump in on them. But if you do go close, one of the things that's cool is you can run in close and then hop out when he does that slam attack. But be sure you're coordinating with your allies, because you don't want him to land a blow on someone who doesn't realize you're trying to proc that attack. Who's hiding? Probably just some slow zombie somewhere, right? But anyways, yeah, I've been, playing Dungeons and Dragons for well over a decade, almost 2 decades now. And as I mentioned, being in my 30s, that's a majority of my life. So when I saw this game, okay, yeah. By the way, these wasps are notorious for getting stuck in locations. Their wings can clip into locations like this. So if you can lure them, now this was unintentional, but I have done so intentionally. If you can lure them into this location or also into this location, you can do pretty well to get them stuck. And there's a few other places over there, like pipes and locations like that, where wasps can very easily get stuck. And my boss video did not do well to explain the additional challenge. By the way, if you insert a key sideways or upside down, it'll auto-complete. I didn't do well to explain that wasps are slower, and they summon bugs around them now. So those are the challenges that they introduce. Pick up every chest you can. I will be coming back for that tier 1 we saw. But prioritize your chests. What I was kind of talking about, because I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons so long, it was, you can call it a godsend or whatever. I was like, oh my goodness. I could not believe that Dungeons & Dragons entered into, or a theme of it entered into the virtual space. I was sold immediately. But I was kind of talking about how I got into fitness a little bit when I was younger. Forgive me if you've ever seen my videos where I never complete a sentence. I got all 80 of the HDs, and I got 80 HDs to forgive. But, maybe that's what's helping me crank out this content for you guys. Keep my hand, if I can't see an enemy on my side, I try to get at a barrier of attack. But yeah, I'm a martial artist. I've studied various forms of martial arts, some of which were, less practical, as most martial arts tend to be at the lower levels. But my school district ended up getting... someone laundered a bunch of money when I was in elementary school, and we lost funding for our physical education program. And this was brutal. So we didn't have PE for my final year of elementary school. So my mom, she was a college student at the time. She was taking Tai Chi, right? And she ended up taking me to those classes with her. Shout out Sensei Han. Another bug. Is it a bugged key? No, that's not. We got it. And that is kind of what set me off onto that journey. Sensei Han, despite being just kind of like a college Tai Chi instructor, was very serious about his martial art. And the first several months that I was in his classes, he didn't even let me move my arms. All I had to do, you can't see my feet. All I had to do was footwork, which, was not the most interesting thing to a kid, but I was committed to it. And his principle there was, you shouldn't just be swinging your arms wildly. The momentum and footwork should be what guides your arms. And that is a principle that I've carried into my whole life, understanding that my body, it's sequences, it's all chambered together. That helped me later on in baseball, helped me later on in what I do now. I'm a fitness instructor. I'm also looking into doing fundraising for children's education. Right now, you can kind of see where these passions come from. So, I'm a fitness instructor, group and personal, and I also do kickboxing instructing, which is really fun. So, hence this desire I have for there's usually a key in this room, so if you don't know, there's usually a key in here. There's a passion I have for teaching, and it comes naturally, and that's what I feel about work. Work should be something that comes natural, so that you're not working just to work, right? If you have to prepare yourself mentally just to enter into your job, then maybe that job is taking more of a tax and taking from you more than it's giving to you. So if you're at a job right now where you feel as though you are... Yeah, what we're going to do here... I should have known that was a mimic. That mimic, usually a mimic chest now, is denoted by not having this greenish glow on its person. But if you're in a job right now where everything that you're doing feels like it's taking from you, try to identify something in you that you feel passion for, something that comes naturally. And you might not think that you can do it as a job. As an example, I'm a writer. I love to create I'm always coming up with story ideas, but I tried writing a book. Started thinking to myself, man, I can't write a book. No one even reads books anymore, and like, as a purist, I'm not going to get into audiobooks. There's nothing wrong with audiobooks now. I've discovered it's actually a great way of like getting into that environment. Were I to have a bomb or an invis, it might be nice to take care of this guy, but I'm not trying to shorten my run dying to a mimic for you guys. I'll see if I can find some more resources to come back to that guy. But yeah, you can take advantage of those corners and throw. But I found that I can write. I don't always stick to my notes. This is more of a freeform video, but you can find something that comes naturally to you and focus it down. For me right now, that's content creation. It's playing Dungeons and Dragons. But I enjoy moving my body. I enjoy working with people, and I want to be a help. And so I found things that, fit that. Yes, you're going to have to commit. But hey, we grind in this game every day, don't we? We find something in this game that keeps us coming back. I want a new exo. I want a new weapon. I want a new prestige. I want to see my friends even. And we come back and we grind. So find the things that you can grind in real life for. Don't let life play you. Play life. Alright? Well, okay, I'll get off my soapbox. But yeah, so I had an early exposure to martial arts, and in a field where most people don't even think that it's martial arts. It's Tai Chi, it's fitness. But because I had that kind of deep exposure to where I had to understand those fundamentals, and my coach didn't just treat me like a kid. He understood, he saw a passion in me, and he let me explore that. And he was strict. He treated me just like he would the adult students. And because of that, I kept that passion going, right? And I'm not saying tough love, but tough love, right? Doing the right thing even when it's hard. That's what being kind is. I think this world focuses too much on being nice. Niceties, you think about this. We've all had a friend on the beach or a family member at the beach who hasn't fully wiped in their sunscreen, right? Their sunscreen? Well, a nice person might not want to address the awkward moment of, or they might even just assume, well, maybe that's what they wanted. But nobody wants to have something on their face, right? There's even a saying, egg on my face when you mess up. So, a nice person will try to keep the comfort at the cost of others. A kind person will do what's right even when it's hard. Right? And beyond that principle, as it applies to the story for martial arts, it got me into that passion. I've studied, and that initial Tai Chi brought me into Bagua, which Bagua, if you're into Naruto, which I do also enjoy anime, that was, it's literally where the fundamentals of the 8 trigram fist system comes from. So yes, I'm not a weeb, but I'm an anime enjoyer. Right, as I mentioned, I did a little bit of boxing. I got into kickboxing now as an adult. Did some judo. Judo was great. My brother was a wrestler, so I had to find a way to level the playing field. Older brother, that is. Love the guy, but boy, did he toughen me up. From there, I did a little bit of boxing when I was younger with my brother, and I thought that maybe, in college, knowing that they had these programs for martial arts, I got into, the boss chamber. I got into Taekwondo. Like I said, a lot of these martial arts that I ended up getting to initially didn't have the most practical use outside of, the dojo. Not saying that they're not practical martial arts, you shouldn't do them. I gained a lot from them. And Taekwondo increased my flexibility, really helped me address some joint mobility that I had suffered due to a car accident when I was younger. So, getting a flexible and mobility route. Oh, this is the boss chamber. Should have known, no monsters are spawning. But it introduced me to mobility and helped me understand that flexibility and the ability to access my body is just as important as it is to flex my muscles, right? And that was rejuvenating for me in life. Wow, look at this room. I love these new rooms with the water flowing and the wider open spaces. It's so cool. My favorite room so far is it's this large cavern with a larger stone pillar in the center. It's all surrounded by water, and you kind of come down. I've only come down through the top. There's other ways to come in, and there's like these crystals that are like coming out kind of like that all over the walls. I don't know, it just was so cool first time I saw them, and I have not yet found it again in a dungeon. So I hope to see that. Oh no, 80% HD. What was I talking about? But yeah, I was kind of talking about, mobility, taekwondo, and like, so even though these things don't have like that's not gonna teach you how to fight, really, all these things that you can commit yourself to can bring you get into something what you get out what you put in, they say, right? And it's later on it's in my later life helped me really help others. For my fitness classes, I go deep into mobility. For my group fitness, you end up working with a lot of older clientele, and it's very important for them to have mobility and stability. That's what's going to keep you safe later on in life. And just a quick note on like this idea of martial arts being practical. You should never be wanting to fight or hurt anybody. And here's the thing with the metric of fighting is anybody can hurt anybody. That's not a measure of strength, right? A measure of strength is your ability to protect others. Okay? And that starts with protecting yourself, protecting your own mentality, so as to not be drawn into those aggressive places. Sorry, I keep getting on my soapbox. Hope you guys are enjoying this. This is my first real foyer into kind of like connecting with you guys as a community, talking about who I am as a person and everything. But I kind of mentioned that I'm a nerd in all of its foyers, right? Nerd on all levels. I love card games. Oh my goodness, I love card games. I was one of the only kids back in the day, the 90s, who actually understood how to play the Pokemon TCG, right? I didn't just collect. I kind of sold myself short on a few trades back in the day. Who knows how many Primo cards I got rid of, because I was trading for trainer cards. People would give me a ton of trainer cards because they weren't the cool Pokemon, but I loved the abilities that they provided. Kind of a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, Pokemon. I also really enjoy the Magic the Gathering card game, and I have a few Yu-Gi-Oh decks, but when it got into all the Pendulum, and I just didn't really understand the game too much at that point, and I was getting into Magic at the time, so my Yu-Gi-Oh connection kind of faded. But I really enjoy the strategy present in card games. So if you play any card games, let me know. It's always a fun thing to talk about. Let's see. I had to get through my my infinity combo. I'm gonna win in 3 turns stage, or I'm gonna play mill and counterspell decks. Until I really learned that it's not about winning the game. Some of my best games, I didn't even win. I just got to, it's all about table engagement, right? Being able to see what my deck is capable of and how it stands up, brain dead, how it stands up to other people's best decks, right? So if kind of like it's a very Goku mentality, kind of throw it back to anime just for a moment, kind of Goku mentality of these guys can get. By the way, one of the things about the upwards attack is it's almost never be able to be guarded by an enemy because they never have a guard low. So that's one way you can, even if you don't have an unblockable greatsword, you're very likely to get that strike. I know I shouldn't be giving away tips when we put in other videos, but hey, if you've been watching this far, you deserve it. So when we're talking about, you know, like Goku can't be the greatest warrior if his opponent isn't the strongest that they can be. And so I kind of took that mentality into my decks. Not to say I wasn't playing optimally. I stayed optimal to my playstyle because that is what a card game really comes down to. Is it's not just having the best cards. It's being able to understand the sequence, to put those cards in. I've had friends who use my decks, or I use my friends' decks, and they're powerful decks, but if we don't know what the strategy that was built into them, we're not going to play them well, right? And so being able to read and understand strategy is something that I really think is valuable in card games. Sequencing, right? Just like in other martial arts, sequencing your strikes. It's not about performing a kata. It's about understanding how the body mechanics naturally flow together, how to get your opponent to move in a way that is advantageous to you, set up openings and strikes, right? And that's something I really enjoyed finding in card games as well. I mentioned briefly, I still must take over here. Oh no, I'm stuck, oh no! When it comes to anime, you know, I have some pretty civilian takes on it. I started watching when I was very young. You know, I was like, geez, 3rd grade when I first started watching anime. I won't age myself by telling you the year, but you get a sense of how old I am already. My very first anime, like I think for everyone, you know, it was Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha, Sailor Moon, because that's just what was on TV. That's what we had available to us. But then I met some friends who, you know, introduced me to manga, and I started reading One Piece way back in the day. Now we go on a hunt. Started reading manga, and that was, you know, my parents supported it because it was one of the few books I was showing interest in. And because I was showing interest in them, you know, they would purchase them for me. I collected Dragon Ball Z and then One Piece, and they got me a subscription to Shonen Jump, right? So you can kind of start seeing how my little brain was formed. But, yeah. So you might be asking, what is your favorite anime? Like I said, I mean, I haven't really kept up with a lot of modern anime. But I think one of my favorite anime is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I actually do enjoy the original adaptation of Full Metal Alchemist. I like the twist that they did with who Sloth was in the made-for-TV version. Because I'm not going to spoil anything, because I thought, oh, that's so cool. I felt like I really connected to the... Never did get me... You start looking at me. Never did get a bomb or nothing. I'm just going to run back for that tier 1. Should be in this room. Or sorry, the room up ahead. Is that up ahead and to the left? I'm missing a few chests. Kind of enjoy my time talking with you guys. I wish there was more engagement. So, feel free to comment and talk to me about any of the subjects I've talked about, any interests you might have. Again, I hope that this is not to use this as an insulting word, but I think we're all nerds playing this Dungeons and Dragons themed game. Ooh, this is what we're looking for. Anyone who was watched me go in this room earlier is like, why didn't you get it? So see this blue glow here? That's how you know it's going to be legit, not a mimic. They got rid of the feature where you can stab into a chest and discern it, but hey, any good dungeon delver should be able to tell it at a glance. I heard someone in the because I was like, it felt like a cool master dungeoneer trick, but he's like, actually a real master dungeoneer would be able to tell just by looking at it, and I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, as far as favorite anime goes, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was one of those. It was one of the ones that showed me that it's more than about just being the strongest guy around. No hate to Goku, but watch me die and not get any XP for this. So it showed me that anime could really be a storytelling vehicle. All I needed was one more throw on it, just left it. Alrighty. Do love me knives. I have some more tips on knives, so I've got more experience with them. Kind of like that Sax version of the knife. A Sax is one of my favorite knives because it has that drop tip. Excellent because it keeps a full slashing edge, a nice, a robust slashing edge, while still having a penetrating tip. Forged in Fire got me really into, a blacksmithing. Not as though it's something that I do, but it's something that I think is very, very cool. Oh yeah, I was right ahead, wasn't it? Everyone's like, no, it's this way. My directional sense ain't the strongest because, as I mentioned, I did a little bit of kickboxing, and that took me some blows to the head. But I've done a lot to kind of regrow my brain as much as I could. Try to stay educated and everything. But yeah, One Piece is another one where it's like you think it's going to be this joyous adventure, and I kind of mentioned my love for pirate adventures, right? Where you realize, oh, this is about something. And we're seeing it ramp up now, like Rebellion, standing up for freedom, and really that's what Luffy's all about, freedom. So look at that. Again, I didn't get the most EXP because I did it as a solo run. I just wanted to do a little dungeon run, let tips come out naturally, and kind of talk about who I am as a person. So let me know what your favorite animes are too. If you've ever practiced martial arts, or if you play card games, or any of your interests. I want to get to know the community. People who watch me, I want to know what's up with you too. I'm still a relatively small channel, so I can read comments. I want to hear about you guys. But yeah. There's more I could talk about, but I can save some of that for later. And maybe if you guys like hearing me talk, we can talk some more and some more dungeon runs. Until next time, remember to disinfect your face mask and wash your face. Peace.